Give a hand. Wow. That's Deputy Kidwell of Alameda County Sheriff's Office. Thanks for playing the pipes, and thank you for protecting our community, sir. My name is Michael Olden. I'm the commander-elect of VFW Livermore Valley Post 7265. On behalf of our post and the American Legion Post 47, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, veterans, distinguished guests, to our 2023 Memorial Day Remembrance. I'm honored today to serve as your masters of ceremony. We have some good speakers, some good singing, some good patriotic American stuff. Thank you. Please welcome Scout Troop BSA 924 Senior Patrol Leader Joe Veery. Joe is a junior at Granada High School and is an Eagle Scout candidate. Please stand for the presentation of our nation's colors by Scout Troop and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by Gina Collinsworth.
Audience, please come to attention. Honor Guard, attention. Honor Guard, advance. Honor Guard, left, face. Honor Guard, post the colors. Present the colors. Honor Guard, post the colors. Honor Guard, salute. Two. Honor Guard, reform. Honor Guard, right, face. Honor Guard, dismissed. Audience at ease.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land and the home of the brave.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Now I'd like to welcome our post chaplain, Jerry Amundsen, to give our invocation.
Shall we pray? Our God and Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day. We thank you for the comrades who are no longer with us. We thank you for those who still are. We thank you for those many blessings that you give to us each day. Help us to live our lives that they are representative of your life. We thank you for the many blessings that you do give to us, and we ask that you will help us to live that life each day in our community. We honor you and we thank you. Heavenly Father, amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our national flag is Troop 924, Eagle Scout candidate John Veery. John is a graduating senior at Granada High and will be attending San Jose State University this summer.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome our distinguished guests today. Mayor of Livermore, John Marchand, all Livermore City Council members, Parks Reserve, Forest Training Area, Command Sergeant Major Eric Soto. Welcome, Sergeant Major. Past President of Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association, Sheila Faliano. Representatives from Livermore Police Department, who are also in our honor guard today, and the Livermore Pleasanton Fire Department, who are back over here. There's a tradition on Memorial Day where we place the wreaths at the graves of our fallen. Today we're going to honor that tradition. Our escorts today are American Legion Commander Roy Warner and VFW member Sean Wilson. Our first wreath is VFW, wife of Vietnam veteran Harold Kurz, Carol Kurz. Sorry, please be seated. You can sit down if you want to. American Legion, daughter of Vietnam veteran Virgil Stanger, Sarah Stanger Montano. Blue Star Mom, President Susie Lister. Air Force veteran and regent of the Livermore chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, Wyletta Nixon. Native Daughters of the Golden West, Angelita Parlor, 32, past president, Rose Brandy. The wind's blowing my papers around, so excuse me if I go back and forth a little bit here. Okay. Now in our program, we'd like to invite VFW member Nick Cruz up to read the meaning of General Order 11. Nicholas?
Welcome, everybody. I'm going to read the meaning of General Order Number 11. Headquarters, Grand Army of the Republic, Washington, D.C. Made May 5th, 1868. Quote, the 30th day of May, 1868, is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers or otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land, end quote. This is the first line of General John A. Logan's General Orders Number 11, originally called Decoration Day, a day when Americans took time to decorate the graves of soldiers who gave their lives in the Civil War. In 1971, Congress passed the National Holiday Act of 1971, designated the last Monday in May as Memorial Day observed, a day in which most Americans celebrate with a 3-day weekend and barbecue. General Logan's order further states, quote, it is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with the hope that it will be kept up from year to year while a survivor of the war remains to honor the memory of his departed comrades. End quote. General Logan was instrumental in the founding of the Grand Army of the Republic, a veterans group comprised of former Union Army soldiers. The last line of Order Number 11 reads, quote, Department commanders will use every effort to make this order effective. Here today, we, veterans of foreign wars, and all of you, continue this tradition honoring all American soldiers, sailors, airmen, and women who gave their lives in defense of our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Now in our program, I would like to introduce our guest speakers. Our first speaker is Mayor of Livermore, John Marchand. John?
Good morning. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. I would also like to recognize Councilmember Bob Carling. I can't do this alone, so please, Bob Carling, thank you. Thank you for the honor and privilege of speaking here today. Livermore was founded by and named for veterans of armed conflict. Where we are today, Stockman's Park, was dedicated to the stockmen who founded Livermore and to the veterans of Livermore, Pleasanton, and Murray Township, those who had served our community and our country. These are the ones who never shelter in place in times of trouble, the men and women who serve our nation in the armed forces around the world. The Livermore Stockmen's Protective Association and our community stepped up in 1918 to hold the first rodeo, which was to support our armed services. And Livermore continues to take the lead in the technologies that support the efforts to protect our national security with the work of the men and women at Lawrence Livermore and Sandia National Laboratories. They also worked during the pandemic because national security never stops. It has been said many times that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. The other day I heard someone say, "Happy Memorial Day." And I was struck how curious that sounded, Happy Memorial Day. That is because Memorial Day has become the unofficial start of summer, a day to celebrate retail sales and the beginning of grilling season, and of course, the Indianapolis 500. But we all know what Memorial Day actually is, a day of reflection as we contemplate the sacrifices made by those men and women of our armed forces and remember those who died in service to our country. We also acknowledge the sacrifices that are made by their families. Memorial Day has become a lot of things, but we remember what it is, and that is why we are here and recognize it today. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you for your support of the veteran community in Livermore. Our next speaker is past president of Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association, Sheila Faliano. Sheila?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Well, it's a beautiful day, a little blustery, but it is a beautiful day. I am so proud to be part of this ceremony today. It's an honor to pay respects to our veterans, past and present, who have sacrificed so much for our country and our freedom. My name is Sheila Fayano, and I'm proud to represent the Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association today. The Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association is made up of stockmen, ranchers, farmer, and business people from our community. Some are pioneer families that have been in the valley for generations, while others are relatively new to the area. Together, we share a desire to keep a century-old tradition alive and vibrant in our community, while supporting our citizens, community, and our veterans to the best of our ability. I'm not sure if everyone knows the relationship of the Livermore Stockmens and the veterans and how that came about. In 1918, the United States was entering into World War I. At that time, the government levied a tax on all cities to help pay the cost of the Red Cross serving our troops. As I'm sure you could imagine, Livermore was a small ranching and farming community and could not afford the assessment put upon them. Like most rural America, Livermore was made up of the ranchers and farmers and people that provided the services to them. Most families bought on credit and paid their debts when they sold their crops or livestock, so money was not plentiful. Well, being a resourceful community then, and we still are, and Mr. John McGlinchey, who was the president of the Livermore Stockmen's Protective Agency at the time, got together with several of the local stockmen and came up with a plan to help our community. Working together, they decided to put on a rodeo in order to raise the necessary funds for the Red Cross. That first rodeo was held in an open field near the area where Portola runs into 580. The rodeo was a success and provided the needed funds for the Red Cross. And from that day in 1918, the Livermore Stockmen's Rodeo Association was created, and the Livermore Rodeo became an annual event that is still a big part of our city's history. Today, 105 years later, the Stockmen's Rodeo Association has grown. In 2008, we founded our Livermore Rodeo Foundation. Our foundation supports many groups such as our Veterans Post 7265, our Ag Day program for all our third graders in Livermore, and donates to the Stanford Healthcare Library, just to name a few. Another very important part of our foundation is our scholarships program. We provide scholarships to our young people in order for them to pursue a career, in an agricultural related field. To date, we've given out almost $180,000 in scholarships. Thank you. This beautiful park that we're all standing in today recognizes the contribution of our veterans, our cities, and those first stockmen that created the legacy of honor and respect for those who served us then and still to this day. The statue behind us of the young stockman needs no explanation. The stock brands that surround the monument belong to the stockmen and veterans new and old. Some of the brands are more current, but many go back many generations. They're a point of pride, a family legacy, much like a coat of arms. These brands illustrate the continued presence our veterans and stockmen have in our valley and their continued willingness and commitment to serve and defend our nation. Our city has grown. It's no longer the tiny community it once was in 1918. Many of our citizens have come from other cities, states, even countries, and may not be familiar with the spirit of the service that inspired this park. Our hope is, when visiting this park, it serves to instill a sense of community and a desire to learn more about the heritage and pride of our Livermore Valley. Once again, I would like to thank you for allowing me the privilege to speak here today. I wish you a blessed Memorial Day and long live the sport of rodeo. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. The Livermore Rodeo is awesome. If you haven't gone, go this year. Our next speaker, it's my honor to introduce Command Sergeant Major Eric Soto.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to try to do this without my sunglasses so actually you can see my eyes when I speak, because I find that's a little more personable. Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Eric Soto. I'm the Garrison Command Sergeant Major at Parks Reserve Forces Training Area. If you don't know where that's at, it's that way a little bit. You can come and visit us anytime. I'm very humbled and honored to be here to address you on this solemn day. I want to first say thank you to the VFW and the American Legion for inviting me to speak today. Recognize your honored guests, the mayor, council member, and the other honored guests. We appreciate you being out here, and thank you for allowing me to speak. There are so many holidays throughout the year. However, in my opinion, Memorial Day and Veterans Day are the most important to me. Memorial Day is an opportunity for us to pay respect and renew our commitment to service members who have died serving our country. You heard it earlier, the very first Memorial Day observed in 1868, which was also called Decoration Day, was when citizens honored the deceased by decorating the graves of Civil War soldiers and honoring their sacrifices. Today, the last Monday of May, all across the country are similar Memorial Day events are being held to honor those who paid the ultimate price for our nation's freedom. The men and women who have given their lives for this nation are the ultimate example of valor and patriotism. We must never forget their sacrifice, their ultimate gift to our nation, because this ultimate gift isn't a measure of life lived, but one of the life and potential lost. For every lost son or daughter that a mother or father has wept for, there is a future unrealized. That boy who may not have a chance to be a father, or that girl who may not have had a chance to become a mother, there is an emptiness. There is a void going forward. No happy graduations, engagements, weddings. It's a loss of the future. Future's memories stolen from their survivors. Veteran cemeteries, like the ones all across the country, are snapshots of lives cut short. Every name etched in those stones began with potential, and wars have a nasty tendency to rob those who fight of that potential. But as I mourn and feel sadness for those losses, I also understand and have the utmost respect for those we have lost. For if it wasn't for their sacrifice, their devotion to this nation, we wouldn't have the freedoms and liberty we share today. We wouldn't be the shining light on the hill that people around the world travel to be part of. If it wasn't for their sacrifices, I wouldn't be standing before you today. The sacrifices of those who have gone before me are very personal, and I'm grateful. To everyone here who has family members who have given their lives to this country, I want to offer my sincere, heartfelt thanks. I am in your debt, and so is the rest of America. Thank you for your time and attention and for sharing this wonderful day with everybody here on this solemn event. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. It is our honor to have you speak today. Inspired by the poem In Flanders Fields, Moyana Michael conceived the idea to wear a red poppy on Memorial Day. The VFW conducted its first poppy distribution before Memorial Day in 1922. Perhaps no flower evokes memories and emotions of war more than the red poppy. Here to read In Flanders Field, a poem by Canadian Colonel John McCrae, his 2022 Granada High graduate and 2001 American Legion California State Oratorical Contest winner, Regina Molitoris.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from failing hands, we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, those poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
A lot of wind here today, folks. Blowing stuff around. Thank you for your patience with that. Thank you, Regina. That was awesome. Okay, and this part of our program is something that's really special to me, and a lot of veterans out there have received this honor. I'd like to introduce Quilt Group leader Michelle McCumber from the Quilt of Valor organization. Come on up. This is a very meaningful thing for veterans. Thank you for coming and doing this today.
Thank you, Mike Olden. I wonder if I could get the scouts to bring up 6 chairs for our very deserving veterans to sit in. Yeah, right in the line. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd make a nice photograph. And then Ronnie Forbes, will you please bring up Mr. William Orman sitting at the end in the second row? He needs assistance. I'd like to call up our veterans, Sergeant Major Sean Wilson. If you could take a seat, the first seat, please, Sean. And then Robert Barney, Bobby Burns, the second seat, and Mr. Orman, the third seat. Thank you, Scouts. And then I'd like to call up, that's okay, it's okay, no problem. It missed me. Okay, and then I'd like to call up Christopher Murphy, Tom McGuire, and Frederick Trujillo. Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle McCumber, and I am the group leader for Quilts of Valor, Amador Valley Quilters. Quilts of Valor is a foundation which was founded in 2003 by a woman named Catherine Roberts. Catherine is a wife, a quilter, and a mother of an Iraqi veteran. She founded Quilts of Valor in order to honor veterans for all they've been through. The mission of Quilts of Valor Foundation is to cover service members and veterans touched by war with comforting and healing Quilts of Valor. Your quilt is an expression of gratitude meant to comfort you. We honor you for leaving all you hold dear to serve, whether in time of crisis or in time of peace. It has been written by an author unknown that a veteran is someone who at one point in their life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for an amount of up to and including their life. As there are those resolved to serve their country, so are we resolved to honor and comfort them. We will never forget the men and women who served our great nation. Though we may never know the depth of your sacrifice to protect and defend the United States of America, as a gesture of gratitude of a grateful nation, we award you your Quilt of Valor. On behalf of the Quilts of Valor Foundation, please know that when you feel like you need a hug, wrap yourself in your quilt and know that it is a hug made with love. It is a privilege to provide honor and comfort upon you. Our first veteran to receive their Quilt of Valor is Sergeant Major Sean Wilson. Please bring up the quilt. Okay, we'll display it after I do the bio. Okay, thank you. Sergeant Major Sean Wilson enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1984. Born in Long Island, New York, in a family of 13 siblings. Sorry, I was putting one more on you. Sergeant Major Wilson served as an infantry Marine with the 1st Marine Division. He traveled the world to many foreign soils. Sergeant Major Wilson is an Iraq war veteran. He is married to Sonia Wilson, a native Livermore resident, and has 2 sons, Curtis and Christopher, who are graduates of Livermore Granada High Schools. Sergeant Major Wilson has been a resident of Livermore for 33 years. He retired from the U.S. Marine Corps in 2010. Please present his quilt. This quilt was made by one of our quilters, Cheryl Perkins, who is also a member of our Post Auxiliary and a Daughters of the American Revolution member as well. Cheryl, where are you? Anywhere close? No? Okay. Thank you so much. Our next veteran is Robert Bobby Burns, Army, 2012 to 2020. Gulf War, including Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and Afghanistan. Bobby Burns was a distinguished military graduate of UCLA and its Army ROTC department. In 2018, he deployed to Afghanistan as a rifle and later mortar platoon leader attached to Special Operations Task Force Afghanistan, earning a Combat Infantryman's Badge and Bronze Star. In 2020, he exited the Army as a captain and moved to Livermore. He is a member of this post. Please present Bobby his quilt. By the way, these quilts are made in Livermore at the Veterans Memorial Hall. We work there every Monday from 10:30 to 3:30, and the public is welcome to join us. The fabric is free. We have sewing machines. Just show up with a lunch and start sewing. Our next veteran to receive his Quilt of Valor is William Orman, Army, 1956 to 1987. Cold War and Korean conflict. Colonel William Orman graduated from Morgan State College in 1956 with a degree in chemistry and an ROTC commission. He then served a tour in Japan and Korea. He returned to the U.S. and served for a short period at Rocky Mountain Arsenal in Denver, destroying mustard gas. He was reassigned to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where he served with the 101st Airborne Division. He then served 6 years with the 12th Special Forces. He ended his military career at Camp Parks as a deputy commander of the 6237th USAR School, retiring in 1987. But that's not all. He was a nuclear weapons deployment specialist, a counterinsurgency specialist, a paratrooper, a jump master, a Green Beret, and a nuclear weapons maintenance officer. He received a certificate in electronics from DeVry Institute, a master's degree in research management from the University of Chicago, and he was a graduate of the Command and General Staff Officer College. Please present Mr. Orman his Quilt of Valor. And I believe Mr. Orman is a member of this post as well. I'd like to give the quilters of these quilts a heads up. After we're done with the presentation, please find your veteran and introduce yourself to them, the makers, and let's get a photograph. If somebody would take a photograph, oh, you could? Thank you, of our veterans getting their quilts. The next is Christopher Murphy, Army, National Guard, 2000 to 2006, Iraq. Christopher Murphy served as a combat engineer in the 579th Engineer Battalion for the California Army National Guard from January 2000 to January 2006. He served in 2 Homeland Security missions and Operation Iraqi Freedom, receiving the Presidential Unit Citation Award and completing over 100 combat missions. He is married to Audra Murphy, and they are expecting their first child, August Lucero Murphy, at the end of July. Please present Christopher his Quilt of Valor. Thank you, ladies. Our next veteran is Frederick Trujillo, Army, 1969 to 1970, Vietnam. Frederick, also known as Fred or Freddie, went over as a supply clerk to Vietnam, but ended up driving a tank. He was based at Camp Benoit. Let's present him his Quilt of Valor. Frederick Trujillo. Our next veteran and last for the day is Sergeant Thomas Sheldon McGuire, enlisted in the United States Army on April 4, 1978, where he served 22 years. During his 22 years of service, he was deployed with the National Guard to Kuwait and Iraq with the 1498 Transportation HETT Company from 2003 to 2004. Sergeant Thomas Shelton, let us please present your quilt. I'd like to introduce the mayor of Livermore, who has certificates of appreciation for our veterans, as well as Wyletta Nixon, regent for the Daughters of the American Revolution, Livermore chapter. The first one should be Sean Wilson. The second one, Robert Bobby Burns. Wyletta, if you'd like to go right behind him, that would be great. And then we have William Ormond. This is the City of Livermore Appreciation Certificate, as well as a certificate from the Daughters of the American Revolution. Then we have Christopher Murphy. And we have a gentleman that was a last-minute entry, and we'll catch up with you, Freddie. But the last one you should have, Mr. Mayor, is Tom McGuire. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Freddie showed up at the last minute, and we were so proud to honor him. He's a Vietnam veteran and hopefully a future member of the Livermore Post. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Wyletta would like to say a few words.
Thank you so much for coming today, to have this many people here to honor our veterans here, as well as the ones who have passed. The Daughters of the American Revolution focuses a lot on veterans. Our appreciation runs deep, as yours does. And I just wanted to thank you for being here to honor these wonderful people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And if we could escort some of our veterans back to their seats, and please, quilt makers, find your veteran, get a photograph, say hello to them.
Thank you to the Quilts of Valor organization. It means a lot to be a veteran and get out and sit here. Please give them another round of applause. Please join us. Join Gina Collinsworth in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, the land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you very much. Thanks for always singing for us. It's always so beautiful. We appreciate you. Another round of applause for that. God, come on, guys. Okay. Today in our program, we not only honor our fallen brothers and sisters who fought bravely along our side, but we pay homage to those we lost this past year. Following the reading of names, Deputy Kidwell will honor them with the playing of Amazing Grace, followed by a 3-round volley salute by a combined firing party of the Livermore Police Department Honor Guard and VFW Post 7265 Honor Guard, commanded by Michael Gilmore. Following that is a playing of taps by Eagle Scout Andrew Tanzen. I'm going to read the names of our fallen now. Past Post Commander Bill Dayton, United States Navy. Ignacio Sandoval, United States Army. Vito Ciafago, United States Army. John Carbino, United States Navy. Juanita Fox, United States Army. Raymond Pickup, United States Army. Robert Bangs, United States Marine Corps. Gene Coda, United States Army. And past VFW Post Commander Leonard Gregory, World War II.
Detail, halt! Right, face. Port, arms. Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Present. Arms. Right shoulder, arms. Left, face. Forward, march. Column right, march. Detail, halt. Left, face. Order, arm.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was a combined honor guard of the Veterans of Foreign Wars in the Livermore Police Department. Give them a hand. They did a great job. There's one last thing I want to call out before we conclude today's service. That's that flag right there. That's a 9/11 memorial flag for those first responders and people who didn't make it back from that day. In conclusion, it's been my honor to speak to you today, to serve as the Master of Ceremonies. I'm humbled by the experience. I want to thank you to the Boy Scouts of America, Blue Star Moms, Livermore Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, Native Daughters of the Golden West, Angelita Parlor 32, the Quilts of Valor, all our guest speakers, and the city of Livermore. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you and God bless you.